Yo, what is the deal, everybody? It's your boy Quan, and I'm here to give you Week 8 recap in our Yahoo Fantasy Football League Dirty South. Now, before, I get into this, I want to give a shout out to my cousin Crystal. You know what I'm saying? She gave me the suggestion to kind of give a little breakdown as to, what players help each team to win and probably as well lose. So I'm going to give it a shot. It might make the video a little bit longer, so stay in there. All the winners are probably appreciated. Losers, so. But anyway, let me get into this because week 8 was kind of crazy for football. It was kind of amazing, incredible. There were a lot of people breaking records as far as the type of games they had and the scores that they put up. So this will be very interesting. So the first game that we're going to get into right now, we're going to get into those A-Town Jags. They went against the Uptown Scrippers. Now, the Jags clawed their way to the victory, and this is how they kind of came across with the big dub this week. They had Matthew Stafford, who came through with 26.40 points, Antonio Gates with 17.40 points. Their kicker, Mason Crosby, had 11 points, and the Denver defense gave them 13 points. Now, the Uptown Scrippers can't really say too much of the same. They did have the New England defense, who gave them 18 points. But they also had Michael Floyd, wide receiver for Arizona, and he gave them a big fat donut. So it's things like that that's going to prevent you from getting those type of wins, especially in a situation like this where you only lost by less than 12 points. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's just a decision that you make can cause your downfall. You know what I'm saying? Now, next game we had the D to the U to the K to the E, Duke heavy hitters. They went up against California's finest, and to be quite honest, this is probably a gimme game because you came through with the big win, 121.62 to 72.94. Despite the crushing victory, uh, Duke heavy hitters had DeMarco Murray, who's been flexing this whole season with 22.10 points, and the Seattle defense that had 16.50 points. Those were kind of like the top players on the team. Now, I think one of the main reasons why California's finest kind of had a downfall is they had C.J. Spiller in their lineup, 0 points. Pierre Thomas in the lineup, 0 points. Taiwan Jones on injury reserve, 0 points. And the flex position was wide open. Nobody was in there. So because of that, there's something I decided to add, and I might as well go ahead and get into it now because we getting into all these bad stats. Each week I'm going to come up with somebody who deserves a whooping. You know what I'm saying? This kind of started at my job when people do stuff that's kind of like stupid or crazy or like they don't know. They get a big whoosh. And California's finest, you get this week's whooping. Don't do that again. Although I got a feeling next week you're going to get another whooping. All right. Next game, we got Valley Mobsters going against I Gets All the Draws. And the Mobsters from the Valley, they came through real gangster, baby. 133.46 to 113.70. Okay? Now, it didn't hurt that they had Des Bryant, who got them 20.30 points. Forte came through with 24.80 points. They made a smart move in grabbing Andrew Hawkins, who got them 14.80 points. Not a consistent player, but he came through hard this week. Yo, both defensive players for the Mobsters got 12 or more points. Now, if that ain't gangster, I don't know what is, man. And let's go back to I Gets All the Draws. Despite the name, they ain't getting no draws this week. Peep this out. This is what I don't understand. Now you have Fred Jackson in your lineup. He got hurt last week, bruh. 0 points. You know what I'm saying? You had DeMarcus Ware, and I believe he played. I don't know why he didn't get any points for you either. 0 points. And although you had Andrew Luck, who got you 38.60 points, T.Y. Hilton, 25.50 points, and your Kansas City defense did good for you, 25.50 points, you had 2 people playing who got less than 1 point, and then another 3 people who got less than 5 points. And with the roster like that, you're not going to get anywhere in this league, and you're going to stay at the bottom with them draws around your ankles, bro. So, that's all I got to say about that. We're going to move on to the next game. We have Black Rain going against Christy Love's team. Black Rain came through strong this week. I think they're trying to make a second half type push towards trying to get back into the playoffs to vie for their championship that they had last year. You know what I'm saying? They win 144.16 to Christy Love's 103.22. Now, one of the main reasons why Black Rain came out on top, Tom Brady straight flexed on them this weekend. Flexing. And this was a flex zone, you know what I mean? 47.16 points. 47.16 points for Brady. Sammy Watkins went off 25.70 points. And even Mark Ingram had a good day. He got more points than Sammy Watkins. 27.50 points. You know what I'm saying? And Christy, even though you had Kyle Orton who went off on the Jets, he had a good game. 34.12 points. You had 4 people on your squad who had less than 5 points. And that's not a good move. Alright, now, we're going to get into my game. Too Hot for TV versus them Delta Dogs. Them dogs was trying to come through and get a second victory on me after they beat up on me like a couple weeks ago. I had to turn up the heat, babe. Turn up the heat, babe. Yes. I had to come through. Started off the week flexing from Thursday night. Had, you know what I'm saying, Emmanuel Sanders came through with 30.60 points. You know what I'm saying? So, as far as my other players, you know, I had Antonio Brown. He got me 27.80 points. Jamal Charles, 23.70 points. Shoot, Chris Ivory got me 16.30 points. Le'Veon Bell, 14.80 points. But I tried to get a little slick, you know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't too, you know, sure about playing, you know what I'm saying, Andy Dalton and Kaepernick, I think, was on bye. So I tried to sneak in Glenn, and I'm thinking Tampa Bay playing at home. They going against Minnesota. He going to flex on them. This clown only gets me 12.14 points. I just knew I was about to lose, boy. If it wasn't for, was it Antonio Brown on Sunday night coming through like he did, and Le'Veon Bell getting some points, I didn't think I was going to win this one. I probably would not have won. You know what I'm saying? And despite the Delta Dogs having Peyton Manning, who got them 29.44 points, Deshaun Jackson got them 15.60 points. Forsett, 11.50 points. And Buffalo had gave them 18 points, which is great for a defense. And you had your kicker, Justin Tucker, who's one of my favorites, got you 12 points. It didn't really help you that much because I still had like 40 plus points on you. You know what I'm saying? So, now, next game we're going to get into, we got the Kings Tree Wildcats going against the Rough Riders. But the Rough Riders didn't ride too strong this week. Them Wildcats devoured them 162.54 to 126.62. Now, King Street Wildcats had a couple secret weapons going for them, you know what I'm saying? They had Golden Tate, who, any wide receiver against the Falcons, they my team and I love them. But when you go against the Falcons, you probably gonna get some pretty good points. Golden Tate got him 25.10 points. His Minnesota defense got him 23 points, which is crazy for a defense. He had Anthony Barr on defense now. His defensive player, 19.50 points. Probably the most points out of all the defensive players played this week in the league. You know what I mean? And last but not least, the star of the show for the King Street Wildcats, the big Gronk, Rob Gronkowski, 34.90 points. Come on, son. Had no chance. Even though Rough Riders had Aaron Rodgers, who got them 32.82 points. Martellus Bennett came through kind of strong with 15.50 points. And Miami had 33 points. Despite all of that, if you look at the other players on the squad, they had 4 players who had less than 10 points. And, well, I would say there were 8 players that had less than 10 points. But of those 8 players, 4 of them had less than 5 points. So, you were struggling through the whole, game time. Even when it came down to the fourth quarter, team just couldn't really produce. So that's what happened to the Rough Riders. Now, in the last game of the week, and probably the best game of the week, because we had the team with the highest score of 190.04 points. The Gap 92 puts the smacketh downeth on the ATL Kings, who scored 121 points, .08. Probably would have took out, at least a handful of other people in the league, but the way the cards are drawn this week, you got the bad hand, cuz bad hand. I mean, how can you compete against? Well, you know what? Let's start with the A-Town Kings, okay? The thing that went wrong, you know what I'm saying? You have 4 people on your squad who have between 14 and 28 points, okay? Only 4. The problem came because you had 7 people on your squad who had 8 points or less. And when you're dealing with points like that, it's hard to deal with when you come with a strong squad like the Gap 92. Listen to this. Nick Foles, 31.84 points, right? Larry Fitzgerald had a good week, 26 points. Arian Foster, 39.30 points. And Jeremy Macklin, 36.70 points. Now, we talked about ATL Kings had 4 players that scored between 14 and 28 points. You figure 28 times 4, which, you gotta kind of do an average. But regardless of all that, the 4 people that I named on the Gap 92's team, they totaled, just between the 4 of them, 133.94 points. Just those 4 by themselves beat ATL Kings. You didn't even need the other 7 or 8 people on the squad to play. Okay? That was a wrap. Done deal. Stick a fork in it, baby. It's done before you burn. Woo! Now, the standings as they are in the league right now, we got the 8-Town Jags holding in there at number 1 with the win this week, 7-1 record. We got the Valley Mobsters in second place with a record of 5-3. We got Christy Love's team in third place with a record of 6-2. Duke Heavy Hitters in fourth place with a record of 5-3. We got Too Hot for TV in fifth place, also with a record of 5-3, and the last team with a record of 5-3 with their strong win this week that moves them up into the sixth place, the Gap 92. In seventh place, we got Delta Dogs, who fall because of their loss this week to Too Hot for TV. to 7th place with a record of 4-4. You know, I know you was up there kind of comfortable in 2nd place with all the other girls, but you know, we had to break that up since you had to say something about it. Anyway, in 8th place, ATL Kings, record of 4-4. 9th place with a record of 4-4, we have the Uptown Scrippers. 10th place, King Street Wildcats with a record of 4-4. The Rough Riders with a record of 3-5 are in 11th place. In 12th place, I Gets All the Draws with a record of 2-6. In 13th place, we have Black Rain, who got their 2nd win this week to move them up out of the basement. Well, they're still in the basement, but you know what I mean. With a record of 2-6, like I said, they are in 13th place. In 14th place, who is holding it down underneath the ground in the basement, keeping the lights on for everybody. California's finest, 0-8. I know you're not really participating much, but you gotta do something. All you gotta do is move around some people. Make sure the people in your lineup are playing. Make sure they're not on the bye week. You're bound to get a win. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I don't like having people in the league that don't really care because they end up being easy wins for people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not feeling that. But anyway, regardless of what I feel, I want to wish you all luck for next week. You know what I'm saying? I'll be back then with the week 9 recap. Alright? Peace.